The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of jasmine and exhaust fumes. The city seemed to breathe in a rhythm of its own, a living, pulsating entity that never paused, never rested. Bangkok throbbed around Nok, a symphony of honking tuk-tuks and sizzling street food vendors. The cacophony was overwhelming, yet it was also a testament to the city's vibrant life. Every corner she turned revealed a new facet of this sprawling metropolis. Neon signs painted the night sky in hues of emerald and ruby. The lights were dazzling, almost hypnotic, drawing her deeper into the heart of the city. They promised excitement, adventure, and perhaps a touch of danger. It was a city that never slept, a city of dazzling beauty and hidden despair. The skyline was a jagged silhouette against the night, a testament to human ambition and the relentless march of progress. Yet beneath the glittering surface, shadows lurked.
I arrived in Bangkok with nothing but a worn-out backpack and a heart full of trepidation. The city's sheer scale was intimidating, its energy almost palpable. I felt like a small fish in an enormous, bustling ocean. The sprawling metropolis, a world away from my rural village, both terrified and mesmerized me. The skyscrapers seemed to touch the heavens, and the streets were rivers of light and sound. It was a stark contrast to the quiet, serene fields I had known all my life. I had heard whispers of its dark underbelly, a place where dreams went to die. The stories were enough to send shivers down my spine, tales of lost souls and broken promises. Yet, I couldn't let fear dictate my path. Yet, I clung to a sliver of hope, a belief that I could forge a better life for myself. Hope was my guiding star, a beacon in the overwhelming darkness. I was determined to carve out a place for myself in this vast, unforgiving city.
The weight of her family's expectations pressed down on her. Every step she took was heavy with the knowledge that she was their beacon of hope, their chance at a better future. The pressure was immense, almost suffocating. Her parents, farmers bound to their rice paddies, had placed their hopes on their eldest daughter. They had toiled under the scorching sun, their hands calloused and their backs bent from years of labor. Nok was their dream, their chance to break free from the cycle of poverty. Nok was to be their salvation, the one who would lift them out of poverty. She carried their dreams with her, a heavy but precious burden. She was determined not to let them down, no matter the cost. But the city, she was quickly learning, was a merciless beast. It demanded everything and gave nothing in return. Yet amidst the chaos and the challenges, Nok held on to her resolve, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Life in the village had been simple, a rhythm dictated by the seasons. Days blurred into one another, filled with back-breaking labor under the scorching sun. Nok had yearned for more, for a life less ordinary. She had devoured books by candlelight, dreaming of a future beyond the paddy fields.
When my father fell ill, our already precarious existence crumbled. Medical bills piled up, pushing us further into debt. I watched my mother age under the weight of worry, her spirit slowly breaking. It was then that I made the agonizing decision to leave for Bangkok.
Her parents, their faces etched with a mixture of sadness and resignation, had bid her farewell. Their parting words, a mixture of blessings and warnings, echoed in her ears.
"Work hard, my daughter," her mother had whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. "But be careful. The city can be a dangerous place for a young woman alone."
The first few weeks in Bangkok were a blur of disorientation and despair. The city was a cacophony of sounds, sights, and smells that overwhelmed her senses. Every corner she turned seemed to lead to another maze of neon lights and bustling crowds. She felt like a tiny speck lost in the vast, throbbing heart of the metropolis. Nok drifted from one menial job to another, her meager earnings barely enough to cover rent for a cramped, airless room she shared with two other girls. Each job was more grueling than the last, and the pay was always just enough to scrape by. She worked as a cleaner, a waitress, and even tried her hand at street vending, but nothing seemed to stick. The city seemed determined to chew her up and spit her out. The night markets, once a source of fascination, became a reminder of her isolation. She wandered through the stalls, the vibrant colors and enticing aromas doing little to lift her spirits. The crowds moved around her like a river, and she was just a stone, unmoving and unnoticed.
I found work in a dingy factory on the outskirts of the city. The building was old and crumbling, and the machines were ancient and temperamental. The foreman was a gruff man who barked orders and rarely smiled. It was a far cry from the life I had imagined when I left my village. The days were long and grueling, the air thick with the stench of chemicals. The factory was a place where dreams went to die, and every day felt like a battle just to keep going. The noise of the machines was deafening, and the heat was unbearable. But I had no choice. I needed the money. My hands, once used to the feel of cool earth, became calloused and scarred. The repetitive motion of the sewing machine left my fingers numb and aching. I missed the simplicity of my old life, where hard work was rewarded with a bountiful harvest, not a meager paycheck. At night, I retreated to my tiny room, the noise of the city seeping through the cracks. The room was a sanctuary of sorts, but it was also a prison. The walls seemed to close in on me, and the constant hum of the city outside was a reminder that I was never truly alone, yet always lonely.
Loneliness washed over her in waves. It was a constant companion, lurking in the shadows and creeping into her thoughts. She often found herself standing in the middle of crowded streets, feeling more alone than ever. The city was full of people, but she had never felt more isolated. She missed the familiar faces of her village, the warmth of her family, and the comfort of knowing she belonged somewhere. The photos she brought with her were a bittersweet reminder of the life she had left behind. Each image was a snapshot of happier times, now just memories that seemed so distant. The sound of her mother's laughter echoed in her mind, a haunting melody that made her heart ache. She would listen to old recordings just to hear that familiar voice. But it only made the distance feel greater. The city was a world away from the simple joys of her childhood. The city, she realized, could be a lonely place, especially for a young woman alone and far from home. The bustling streets and crowded cafes were filled with strangers, and she longed for a friendly face. Every day was a struggle to find her place in this vast, impersonal city. Desperation gnawed at the edges of her hope. She wondered if she would ever find her footing in this neon jungle, or if she was destined to be lost forever. The city was a beast, and she was just another soul trying to survive in its belly. One stifling evening, the air was thick with humidity, making every breath feel like a chore. Drawn by the sound of music and laughter, Nock wandered through the narrow streets, her senses overwhelmed by the vibrant chaos. She stumbled upon a bustling night market, a hidden gem in the heart of Bangkok. The air vibrated with energy, a pulsating rhythm that seemed to sync with her heartbeat. A mix of food vendors, street performers, and brightly lit stalls selling everything from trinkets to counterfeit designer bags filled the scene. The aroma of street food wafted through the air, mingling with the scent of incense and the occasional whiff of exhaust from passing tuk-tuks.
I found myself drawn to a group of women, their laughter ringing out like wind chimes in the night. Their laughter was infectious, a melody that cut through the noise and chaos. They were a kaleidoscope of personalities, each woman bringing her own unique story and energy to the group. These women of the night, with their vibrant clothes and bold makeup, were more than just their appearances.
Mai, with her quick wit and even quicker smile, was the heart of the group. She took Nock under her wing, guiding her through the maze of the market and the complexities of their world. There was Som, elegant and enigmatic, her past shrouded in mystery. She carried herself with a grace that hinted at a life once lived in luxury, now replaced by the harsh realities of the streets. And then there was Dara, bold and fearless, a survivor in the truest sense of the word. Her strength was evident in every step she took, every glance she cast.
They welcomed Nock into their circle, sharing stories and cigarettes under the neon glow. Each story was a thread in the tapestry of their lives, woven together by shared experiences and mutual understanding. Our lives were messy and complicated, filled with moments of joy and sorrow, triumph and defeat. Our choices often born out of desperation, yet each decision was a testament to our resilience.
Yet I saw a flicker of resilience in their eyes, a defiance that resonated deep within me. It was this defiance, this unyielding spirit that bound us together, making us more than just faces in the smoke.
The night market became Nock's sanctuary, a place where she could shed the weight of her worries and be herself. She learned the rhythms of their world, the unspoken rules and the dangers that lurked in the shadows.
The women, bound by circumstance and shared dreams, formed a fierce loyalty to one another. We looked out for each other, protecting our own from the predatory gazes and unwanted advances.
We shared our meager earnings, knowing that tonight's fortune could easily turn into tomorrow's hardship. In our shared laughter and whispered secrets, Nock found a sense of belonging she had never experienced before.
One evening, as they huddled together, sharing a plate of pad see ew, Mai turned to Nock, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and determination.
Nock, you are different. You are smart. You are kind. Don't let this life harden you.
Anand was different. Unlike the other men who frequented the night market, his gaze held no judgment, only kindness and understanding. He was a writer, drawn to the vibrant chaos of the city, his notebook filled with stories of its diverse inhabitants.
I saw Nock, not the circumstances that led her there. Our initial encounters were brief, a shared smile over a cup of strong Thai iced tea.
Anand listened with genuine interest as Nock spoke of her village, her family, and her dreams for a better future. He encouraged her love for learning, lending her books from his own cherished collection.
Anand saw beyond the mask I wore for survival. He recognized the spark of intelligence in my eyes, the yearning for a life less ordinary.
His belief in her potential, a stark contrast to the dismissive glances of others, ignited a flicker of hope within Nock. Anand's friendship became a lifeline for Nock, a reminder that there was more to life than the darkness that surrounded her. He encouraged her to dream beyond the confines of her current reality, to believe that a brighter future was within reach.
My words, like seeds planted in fertile ground, took root in Nock's heart. She began to save every baht she could, squirreling away her meager earnings in a hidden pocket of her worn-out purse.
Every sacrifice, every bowl of rice skipped, brought me a step closer to my goal. I dared to dream of a life where I could use my intelligence, my resilience, to build a better future for myself and my family.
The path ahead was daunting. Nock knew that escaping the cycle of poverty would be a monumental task, but with Anand's unwavering support and the love for her family fueling her determination, she refused to give up hope.